Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Malicious Compliance Reddit video. In our first story, it's the day I was maliciously complied with. Let's jump right in. My first job out of engineering school about 25 years ago was to work as a controls engineer at an enormous commercial brewery. You've heard of what they brew there. My job was to upgrade the control systems for the various pieces of equipment we used in the brewing and packaging processes. This included selecting new components, designing the system, and programming the equipment to do its job properly. About 6 months or so into the job, I was assigned to update the controls on our water carbon filters. These were enormous units that were maybe 40 feet tall, and most of the controls were on the top of the units. I had spent over a month designing the new controls, basically a computer that put the filter in different modes depending on conditions and then communicated data to our central servers. Since we were a unionized brewery, I was not allowed to operate a screwdriver, so I needed one of the mechanical techs to actually do the install. I had to be there because I had a test suite I had to make sure the new controller passed before I could switch the carbon filter over it. Downtime was a big no-no. I was behind schedule and under a lot of pressure to get this thing done. The tech assigned to me was really unresponsive and always had an excuse why he couldn't help me. I was young and stupid then. I'm old and stupid now, so I committed the cardinal sin of engineering. I went to the tech's supervisor to compel the guy to help me. So the next day, the guy calls me and says we can do it at 3 p.m. We had a shift change at 4 p.m., so I figured it was tight but doable. Should only take 20 minutes. The filters were in the yard behind the brew house, and it was a cold day with a driving rain. I put on my raincoat, gathered my stuff, and met the guy at the filter right at 3 p.m. We climbed up the ladder and were on the top of the filter. I was a bit sketched out by the climb on the wet ladder and was stressing from the height. So what I needed from this guy was to remove the housing that protected all the electronics, screw the new unit I put together into the equipment rack on top of the filter. All our control electronic units were standardized in 19-inch rack-mounted units, and replace the housing. So I pull out the unit, start preparing it for installation, and he goes to the rack and goes, "Damn, left the right screwdriver in my other bag, sorry dude." So down the ladder he goes as I shiver in the rain. My jacket left something to be desired. He gets back in about 10 minutes, it's 3:20 or so now. We are still doing fine. Should take 5 minutes to install, 15 minutes to test, and then he has to close the housing and we're done. The first thing he says is, I don't know, man. I think the unit is too deep for the chassis. I don't think we have room for the cord. I thought, this couldn't be true. I reused an enclosure from another project. I get down on the wet roof of the filter and see that the power cable was all twisted up in a weird way, but easy to fix. I realized at that point the guy is messing with me, but I don't know what to do, so I play dumb. "Oh, the cord got kinked up. Try it now," I say bravely. After 10 minutes screwing with the cord, it's now 3:30. No worries, should go smoothly now, right? The guy starts putting in the unit at the speed of a glacier melting. Takes him 10 minutes to literally slide a unit into a rack, tighten 4 rack screws, and patch in maybe 10 cables to the existing system. It's 3:40 now. This is going to be tight. So I plug in my laptop and start putting the new system through its paces at full speed. I really need to get this done. It's going okay when the guy drops the bomb. "Listen, dude, I gotta go on break." That's when it hits me. I'm screwed. The guy smirks at me while I powerlessly watch him descend the ladder. I spend the next 5 minutes running tests. It went a bit faster than I expected. The system looks a-okay, but it is 3:45 now and the guy is nowhere to be seen. The cover is off the control system, the rain is beating down, I'm soaked, my laptop is soaked, and my pride is soaked. What do? If I put the cover on, I know the guy is going to file a grievance, which we try to avoid. What I end up doing is to prop the cover back on the control system without securing it. It doesn't fit so well before you screw it in, so I end up taking my jacket off and covering it up to keep it dry. The guy doesn't come back. 4 p.m. rolls around, I'm soaked, I don't know what to do, I can't let him destroy the equipment, but I also can't do his job for him. I end up going back down the ladder, going to the storeroom, getting a screwdriver, and just reinstalling the cover myself. It's about 4:30 p.m. when I finally go home, soaked to the bone. Unfortunately, this story doesn't really have a satisfying ending. I considered going back to his supervisor, but the last thing you want as an engineer is for the techs to hate you. In the end, he never reported me for operating a screwdriver, and I didn't report him for abandoning a job. I imagine if I pushed it, he would have been written up, with no real consequences, and then I would be persona non grata from then on with the represented staff. I considered this a life lesson and resolved to go back to school, which I did. Story number 2. You won't settle until I send you a file type your computer will open? No problem. Hey guys, I hope you all enjoy another lawyer story. Same disclaimer, I'm not your lawyer and none of this is legal advice. Don't take legal advice from internet randos. Client comes in with a seemingly simple auto collision. The client was hit, the other driver got out and said something like, "Oh my god, are you okay? I'm so sorry, I dropped my phone and reached to get it." The client had a dash cam which recorded the whole thing, including the admission of guilt. Easy client, right? Turns out the admission was really important because the type of accident didn't make a determination of fault easy. Imagine a rear-end collision at a red light as an easy determination, but a collision at a four-way stop sign as a hard determination. When the cops showed up, the police report found both drivers at fault and did not mention any statements from the other driver. But we have our admission, and my client's damages were above the other guy's policy limit, so I sent a demand to the insurance company for policy limits. Note that the insurance company has an obligation to negotiate in good faith, which becomes important later. Lawyer from insurance reaches out and says, basically, look, my client says they were driving safely and the police report says shared fault. The initial offer is like 10 grand. I replied, yeah, but my client has a dash cam and it recorded your client admitting fault. It's important to understand that this was before dash cams were common. It wasn't my first case with a dash cam, but it might have been my third or fourth. No mention of the dash cam was made on the police report. The insurance attorney says, I imagine while twirling a dumb mustache, "Interesting, can you send me a copy of the video?" I say sure and send it over. He replies, "I can't open this." So I send him a link to VLC Media Player. It's a weird extension and Windows Media Player won't play it, but VLC will. Just follow the installer instructions and it should play no problem. He says, I'm not installing something to watch your alleged dashcam video. Send me a file I can play if you want me to consider it. This makes me unhappy, but I tried again. It will take less than a few minutes to install. You can watch the video and listen to your client admit fault. He says, we are done here until you send something I can play. Cue malicious compliance music, country grammar. Start super cool montage of me going through other client files. Stop montage as I open a file and my face is bathed in a golden light radiating from an old Memorex CD. So, I found a different dashcam video which did not contain any sound, but it could be played with Windows Media Player, and it was close enough to my current client's facts that if you weren't paying attention, it could pass. The other attorney just asked for a file he could play, right? I sent it over, he says, wow, no sound. Guess you're done, buddy. So I sued. During discovery, I sent a CD over which included the original video and a copy of VLC. He must have ignored it because he didn't say anything about it. During a pretrial motion hearing, I played the video for the judge. The judge might have heard the other lawyer's jaw hit his desk. The insurance attorney says, Your Honor, this is not the video he sent me. In my mind's eye, I see the malicious compliance Death Star preparing to fire. Judge, I thought he might say that. Here is a copy of our emails where I described the video, provided the video, and sent instructions on how to play it. Here is a copy of the CD I sent with Discovery, which also has the video and a copy of VLC. Finally, here is a copy of the unrelated video which I sent to fulfill his request of something he could play. The other attorney asks for a recess. Because he refused the initial demand of policy limits, I told him I would argue he did not negotiate in good faith. We settled for well above policy limits. My client was very happy. P.S. Don't go to law school. #not worth. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, subscribe and click on that notifications bell. We would love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.